Good night. In the scheme of things, I am nobody and nothing. But you are, as an individual, are everything to you. So I want to explain in this video how to not be defeated by the Agenda 21, the program which is in place in Western countries in particular to use democracy to undermine the economy and undermine the self-will of the people, therefore to control them into some Marxist reality. That means everyone thinks the same and do not question authority and the elite. Basically then to gradually eliminate and reduce the human population to what these people who are sort of a, if you like, a separate species of human, merely because of their culturation of hundreds and hundreds of generations of building into them an intelligence and a code of conduct that makes them think they're elite, and therefore they can conduct this experiment on humanity. If you're aware of this, that what's actually going on with Agenda 21 isn't going, they're not going to wipe people out by mass murdering them and stuff like that, although 5G may have some cause some negative results when it comes to causing mutation in the genes in future births and what have you. And but another aside that other people on the net have gone into. What I want to suggest is, if you don't want to have your genetic capital, your genetic potential, your genetic future, which is what you are, you have there's an eternity within your soul, within your genes, if you understand the value of family. And the traditional families, which many people in politics are actually attacking and undermining the economic foundations what make for a traditional family to survive through life in relatively an easy existence, and therefore destroy the will of the family to stay together. That's part of the system of the politics of the day, especially with these people called the left, which everything they say you should look at the opposite meaning, because everything they say has an opposite meaning, and the opposite meaning is a correct and scientific one if you understand that. But the way to beat Agenda 21 and not let it and survive through the next, not just you, but your family and your grandchildren survive far into the future, is to just have a simple moral code within your household and within your family. And if you're a man, choose a woman who agrees with the following principles, and if you're a woman, choose a man who agrees with the following principles. So it is about equality. It's definitely about equality, and a marriage is about really is about respecting each other's individuality as individuals, as people, as a human, not just the fact that you're a man or a woman, which has in itself as its own needs to be respected for what they are as a natural biological outcome of the evolutionary forces that are within planet Earth or throughout the cosmos. From this time on, out till 2030, as your first step in this, it's a step-by-step process. Those children or those young people first coming out and starting out in work must forego all those things they can cross off the list of what they don't need to survive on a daily basis. Everything you don't know. You don't need a washing machine. You do not need a big electric stove. You can make do with a camp cooker to make decent meals. You do not need heavy duty light bulbs. You can get the small LED ones and run them off a small solar panel, so you don't have to get involved in a great big solar deal, which is basically a rip-off. You learn how to economize your way of living from a day-to-day basis as good as well as you can, as if you were in your grandparents' day in the 50s when they basically had to. You learn to do that to minimize the cost of surviving from day to day. And you accumulate and you behave yourselves and treat each other respectfully, throughout all times. You do not row or argue and attack each other bitterly and personally. You always ask each other, well, what is your reason for your displeasure in me? Or in something like that. Be civilized at all times. This then builds a relationship. Building this relationship for a foundation of mutual respect is then builds you the foundation of your genetic capital far into the future. Because it doesn't matter if you have a humane agenda or not. By building your family up, you're acting better for humanity itself and its survival. Because you were part of humanity as a single organism called a family, which is a single biological organism, by the way. That can then generate new species of culture, if you like. You want to go on and understand what that means from an evolutionary theorist point of view. Whether you believe in evolution or not, that's beside the point. It's a fact that the evolutionary theory allows me to explain this. And the evolutionary theory in the recessive equation is actually what's Agenda 21. That's what's involved in that. Now, if for the next 10 years, if you're just starting out, it's for people just starting out, it's a new generation, this just says to a new generation of people just starting out in the workforce, to get the best job, both of you, man and woman, get the best job you can together. Don't want to get the cheapest possible accommodation, stay with parents if you can, and be good at home. And save as much as you can. Your parents will be proud of you. You start saving as much cash. Don't forget investing in houses or anything. Make sure you invest in cash and save as much cash. Or would be better if you started buying gold that you can hold in a safe deposit box. Because that's what China and Russia, big countries, are buying as much gold as they can, because they know currency is now in danger or being decimated on the internet by there'll be a clash of currencies, and also there's the sort of digital currencies and other currencies that are being manufactured as opposed to the currency owned by the cartels. The currency flow in the fiscal system we all use is now got opposition to it in the other sorts of manufactured currencies that are also available and that you can invest in. And if everyone knows this is coming, and some wise people are investing in gold, and this is what I suggest people do: invest in gold they can hold in a safe deposit box. Buy it by the ounce as you save up your money, put it away, and accumulate that for the next 10 years. Accumulate as much as you can. Once you get in the habit of accumulation rather than spending, one, you've got a little debt. You might have a small debt for a motor car or something like that. Avoid that. Buy the best second-hand car you can. And don't listen to all the greenies about efficiency and that, because the cheapest second-hand car that is most reliable is the most energy efficient thing you can have in many aspects. But I will not go into that. The efficiency of energy, of having a reliable older car without any fancy electronics on it, what you can use and is more efficient for you, your energy and your monetary wise, than it is for anything else. And that's the important point here. It's you, and your survival is much fundamental to you, and it doesn't matter how the rest of the world thinks of you in this venture, because it's you what is important, not the rest of the world. Because if you think the elite of the world give a damn about you, you think the Greens and the left they give a damn about you as an individual, then you've been deluded, because that's what they're into, creating a delusion. That they're for humanity when they are not. Their agenda is against humanity. Now, or only for some parts of which is them. If you accumulate over the next 10 years, instead of getting into any debt, don't buy any housing, or don't get invested in anything. Stay with parents if you can. Be good people. Learn how to cook organic and good and healthy food. Keep yourself as fit and healthy as you can, and learn to read, and learn as much you can, and knowledge about the world and universe and cosmos. Make that your lifelong interest. Make research into the universe and cosmos, into the meanings of things, your lifelong interest, because then that opens your mind and entertains you beyond anything they can provide on television. Suddenly you've got this whole millions of spectrums of means of entertaining yourself without costing you a cent, or just looking Google or reading an encyclopedia or reading novels. And so you're entertained far greater than you can be by what's on boring television, being interrupted every 2 minutes with a very boring advertisements, or then having to listen to politicians on the news tell you absolute rubbish. And that's all they can do. They would not be allowed to tell you at one instant the truth and facts. That's if they even understood how to explain the truth and facts, which I doubt if they would be in politics if they could. Now the point of this is be as stoic and frugal with your spending. Keep as healthy as you can. Stay away from 5G mobile phones. Get just an ordinary cheapest phone you can have with the cheapest communication plan you can have. Keep it as cheap as possible. All your living expenses. Cut down on everything you don't need with electricity. Work out, look at it systematically. My electricity bill is about $4.50 a day. And it's because I worked out what I don't need. I turn my hot water on for an hour a day. That's enough. And then I turn it off because they have a separate system at the switch on the meter board. An hour, turn it off. That's it. I've got enough water for me to have a shower and wash my clothes, which I wash by hand. I've never hurt myself once washing my clothes by hand. It's not even caused me one bruise or cost me anything, but it saved me an awful lot in buying washing machines and paying for electricity to feed it and all that other stuff you need with it. Now, it all depends on how you think about this, and that's a choice you have to make, because this is about survival and surviving Agenda 21. This is surviving through this. If you can pass these traits on, if you can accumulate by the time you're 30 between a man and a woman enough capital in gold or just cash, but gold would be better under the circumstances, then maybe then you can have a baby, then you can have a child, because you know that the woman is secure. You've got all this capital already accumulated. You do not have debts. You have the minimum amount of debt you can manage, and then you do not have debts at all, and therefore the lady, the woman can have a baby, would feel comfortable about having a baby, because she thinks, well, I can have a baby and relax and bring it up myself in an old-fashioned traditional manner and make sure it's brought up in the family tradition. And that way you pass on and inculcate with that child your family, if you like, culture of your family, that then is passed down through the generations, and that ensures your family, your genetic family, survives through Agenda 21, because you're not going to be polluted by whatever it is, that political correctness and all this way of preventing you questioning the authority, which is what? Bill Shorten in Australia. The authority in our countries on everything is Bill Shorten for some reason. He's the authority on the world now and everything. He's a major brain in this country. So yeah, he's the authority you're supposed to listen to. Now it's better that you don't. It's better you become your own authority by gaining knowledge yourself, making that a lifelong adventure. A lifelong adventure. And if you do it this way, what I'm suggesting, you stay away from debt. You accumulate gold in particular till, well, next 10 years. That'll give you a foundation. You'll be in such a habit of enjoying that sort of way of life, so satisfying that you achieve that much, you will go on then continuing to live like that forever, and then you'll be able to buy a house cash, because the houses are going to be stagnated in Australian price. You'll be able to probably buy a house somewhere in a nice country town, possibly near enough cash, so you won't have a great deal of worry about finances into the future. You'll be free of debt, and therefore you will not be a debt slave to the New World Order, which is New World Order and Agenda 21 is initially create as many debt slaves and nations as debt slaves itself, like it is with Australia, as it possibly can. Accumulate those debt slaves, then they mine, rather than mine coal, for instance, which the Greens want to ban, the ALP wants to ban. They want to stop the mining of coal and use of coal to make energy in Australia in particular, never mind they're doing it everywhere else, they're doing it here. So therefore they want to mine currency, which is from the people, which is then has to be borrowed by the government. Another one, and the people got to borrow money in credit cards and etc. And that becomes a currency mine for those people, the cartels and the cabals and the banking families. Then that's a currency mine, and there's no pollution to in their minds. There's no digging up coal and burning all that stuff and all that in them. They'd rather mine the currency and the economics and the energy from the people rather than actually do any real labour. And this is what they got planned. There's more to this. There's more rational behind this. What these people are thinking. They think robots and AI can replace most of the humans for the menial tasks. So they don't really need them, and they can restore the world to a beautiful paradise, Garden of Eden, like they always envision in their mind it should be. But there may be a well, and if you want to join in that future with them, if you want to join that future, because most people will not watch this video, only a few will. If you want to join in that future of this paradise on earth, which the New World Order is creating with this Agenda 21, do what I'm suggesting. And out of it, as the human will gets eroded, your human will to survive will be stronger and stronger. And you will come out at the end of this, living in a paradise created on your behalf through Agenda 21. My name is nobody, it's irrelevant. I'm just passing on something that I have worked out. How to survive through Agenda 21.